Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, what's good? Welcome to another LiveWire Sports Media update, Indiana Fever report. All right, so yesterday there was some talk, which Linn Dunn came out and talked. It seems like Linn Dunn does a lot of talking, and sometimes there's no results to be had or pertaining now. So we all know the Indiana Fever are already in the off season and preparing for the 2025 year, and most notably they're looking to upgrade in some various spots. We got Kelsey Mitchell there, pretty much is the main target to resign, core, whatever the case may be, and knowing that the Spencer Jarvis coming with the Golden State Valkyries. So with that being said, Linn Dunn went on this podcast and she pretty much talked about what Kelly Krauskopf's role is going to be and what the Indiana Fever is looking to do to upgrade the roster going into next year. And it's pretty fitting because I stayed up last night pretty much going through the free agents list and how it would help and who would help the Indiana Fever. And I came up with 4 names, possibly 5, and I only looked at it because of the money aspect of it. But before I even get into that and look at the situation, I'm gonna allow y'all to listen to what Linn Dunn had to say, because it's 2 clips, and I will go ahead and once I play one clip, I'll go ahead and give my answer, my rebuttal to that, and then I'll play the next clip. Here we go.
I think you guys know that Kelly Krauskopf has come back. I don't say she's come back. She's come across the street over to the Fever to help us move forward with this franchise at this unbelievable moment. And so Kelly will now be in charge of the business side and the basketball side, and she will be making the decisions, and she will be negotiating with Kelsey and her agents. And I can assure you we'll do everything we can to keep her.
Your biggest off-season priority is what?
Kelsey Mitchell.
Period.
It's an easy answer.
And I tell you what else, guys. Looking at the 4 teams that are in the finals right now, we need a couple of more players. We don't have as much talent as New York and Connecticut and Minnesota. They're a couple of years ahead of us. So we've got to go into free agency and look for a talented veteran that can take us to the next level.
Skill set wise, what's on your mind when you go there, Lynn?
Well, we want people that can fit into our system. We're going to run. If you're going to play with Caitlin Clark, we're going to play up-tempo, fast basketball. But at the same time, I want you to be able to spread the floor, get to the rim, and then defend. We know that our defense was a little better, but it's not where it needs to be. The 4 teams that are in the Final Four are all the top 4 defensive teams. So that's an area that we've got to continue to address.
All right. So you listened to, and you heard what Linn Dunn had to say on that first part. And she said, the main thing she said, that Kelly K is going to make all the decisions. That's key. Right there, that's key. That she's going to make all the decisions, because the fact of the matter is that now you ain't got to worry about Linn Dunn putting her fingers in nothing. Linn Dunn making stupid decisions. Linn Dunn doesn't make any moves at the trade deadline, which we was wondering why we didn't make certain decisions. I think if Kelly was there, I don't think Celeste Taylor would have left this roster. That's just my opinion. I think we would have went after in free agency Odyssey Sims. She was signed to a 10-day contract. She would have brought her to the roster to help propel this team a little bit further in the playoffs, give a little bit more depth. These are the decisions that we need somebody with a great mind in basketball to come in and look at the roster in totality and say, okay, we need a better starter. We need some bench players that's going to come in and contribute, because bench scoring, I said this a lot in a lot of my videos, bench scoring has been a problem. When you had the Minnesota Lynx score 34 points, or you had other teams bench scoring over 30 points, even the Las Vegas Aces bench scored like 30 something points, and you don't score nothing but 11. You don't score over 11, 12 points, 15 points off the bench. That's a problem, because you can't rely on Erica Wheeler to give you a lot of points, because she don't get a lot of minutes. Dante's going to give you probably about 10 or 11, but you don't leave her on the floor enough to contribute. Timmy she's defense, so she's not going to give you scoring wise, and she's been injured a lot this season, so her rhythm has been really off. Then you move Lexi to the starting lineup in place or Alyssa Smith, you know what I'm saying? And then Alyssa Smith, she's not even giving you nothing. You know, she can't stay on the floor long enough because she gets in foul trouble. She doesn't finish around the basket. So you need people that could come in and do the things. Now, in the second part of this video audio is that Linn Dunn talked about there are potential free agents want to come and play with Caitlin Clark. And I've said this before, teams watch Caitlin Clark play. And knowing that she likes to run and these teams likes to get out and get after it, you're going to have a high field goal percentage because of Caitlin Clark and what she could do and how she makes it. You see how she did with Aaliyah Boston, and you see what she did with Kelsey Mitchell. You see what she did with Nalissa Smith at times. You see what she did with Katie Lou, but, not Katie Lou, but Lexi Hall. So now I'm going to let you listen to that, and then I'm going to go into, and then I'm going to label out my free agent list that I think this Indiana Fever should go after.
Imagine here early on, you guys start talking to free agents. There are going to be players that want to play free agent-wise with Caitlin Clark because of how she gets them the ball, everything else?
Absolutely. We're already starting to hear some initial conversations with some free agents letting us know, that their player might be available for a trade or that they might be available in the free agency and that they would love to play with Clark.
All right, so with that being said, now, she didn't say no names. She said there's already talks, people reaching out and say, hey, I want to play with Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? Now, we got other podcasters talking about, Angel Reese talk about she making a pitch, she want to play with Alicia Gray. Well, Alicia Gray is not available. She ain't a free agent, and Atlanta is not going to let her go. So that's dead. All right, so y'all can sit there and talk about how Angel Reese out here trying to recruit players. But guess what? That's going to be leave up to the GM and the new coach who they want. It ain't going to be up to her. But anyway, I don't even want to talk about Chicago Sky. I'm focused more on the Indiana Fever. So that brings me to my list of free agents. I sat down and looked at the free agency list and money-wise, because money-wise, the Indiana Fever is going to have they're going to have roughly over $6,500 and $630 over $600,000. So that's almost $700,000 or $700,000 that they're going to have in cap space. Now, she did say the main priority is to sign Kelsey Mitchell. So if you call her and pay her the minimum of that and work out a long-term deal, that's going to take that. But you got to think about it. You're going to have the likes of Katie Lou. That's probably going to get pulled off the books. Alyssa Smith probably is going to get traded. That's more money off the books. And then you never know, Victoria Saxton might not be on the team because with the expansion draft, you can only keep 6 players. 6 players. So you most likely looking at Clark, Mitchell, Katie, Lexi, Boston, It's going to be between Dantas and Timmy, and then one more other person. And then you got to worry about the draft. You know what I'm saying? Because if you trade in Alyssa Smith and you get like a second round pick for her, then you're going to have 4 people you draft into your team, along with your starting 5, whoever that may be. That's 9 players. You can only carry 12. So you got to think, free agency wise, you're going to add probably 3 more, probably 4 more. You know what I'm saying? And you might have to cut one. If whoever you draft, you probably going to have to cut one because they might not cut it. So I look at this. So the number 1 free agent that I look at right now is Salter Sabri. She's been, to me, she's probably been my number 1 free agent radar since. Because the fact of the matter is that she's been injured, but she came back. But you can see what she does. In the game that they played, Indiana played them twice, she has scored like 20-something points. If you think about this, her 20-point production, her 3-point production, her assist production that's able to help out Caitlin Clark, that's going to spread the floor. Because now you would have Caitlin Clark that's going to score 20, Boston could score about 20, Mitchell's 20, Salty about 20. Then you could add, say, about a 10 or 12 point by Lexi Hall. That's your starting 5. That's almost, if you think about it, that's almost 90, close to 100 points a game, not knowing whoever you have on your bench, not knowing what they could bring also to the table. If they could bring, your bench could bring 20 to 30 points. You got to think about it. The Washington Mystics had the best bench production in the league. If you could bring 25 to 30 points a game off your bench, you winning 90% of your games totally, because you're scoring way over 100 points. So while I was looking at this is that the Dallas Wings has an issue with their cap because they have to extend Arike Umuwale to a new contract, and her contract expires in 2025, but they have to extend her. Then you have Natasha Howard, that's a free agent. Then you have Salsa Sobel, that's a free agent. Now I was looking at Natasha Howard, but she has the most money. She's making over $234,000, where Salto is only making $195,000. Now you can easily bring her in for probably that same much or a little bit more, depends on how much you want to bring her in. Because a lot of people is going to, they're going to be looking to grab Salto, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to play with a point guard that's going to get you the ball, you want to run the floor. And I think Salto being in Dallas is not, if you look at Dallas, Arike, she shoots a lot. She's a high volume shooter. But they don't have a true point guard. With the Fever, they have a true point guard. And Clark, she always could pick and choose when she could get her points. It's no issue with her getting her points. But you need that extra scorer on the floor. And something that Salto Sabli does, she stretches the floor. Like I said, she has great vision. She's played sound defense. She's tall, rangy, lanky. And she doesn't clog the paint like Nalissa Smith does. She's a good 3D stretch 4 person where now, if you think about it, you don't have everybody focusing so much on Clark and Mitchell. Now you have another person. And like if Lexi Hall start getting her shots knocking down, that's even a more problem on the starter 5 because now people have to pick and choose who they're going to have to guard. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the playoffs, the Wanda Bonner was on Caitlin Clark. Then you had Deesnay Carrington on Mitchell. So therefore, if them two struggling to score, where are your points coming from? You don't have no other area. Because you got to think, if Marina Mamie was to pick up on Salsa Subly, she's in foul trouble. You know what I'm saying? Leo Boston can eat all day because you got a big that can pass down low. Then you got Lexi Hall that could probably get, she'll probably have some open shots. You feel me? So I think, me personally, with the money that the Fever have on deck, once they sign Boston, I will make my number one priority will make is to and go after Salsa Sabri. Now, if you get her, great. If you don't get her, then you're gonna have to have a backup plan because, like I said, Natasha Howard is old. She's old, and she's like 33, but she's great on the floor. She runs the floor well, and she finished at the rim well. You know what I'm saying? So you can't go wrong with either one, but you want the younger, Salto is 26. So especially having a young core that's going to gel and be together and thrive together, you want that person. Now, my second free agent person is Isabel Harris. Now, I did a lot of research on her, watched her, and I think she's 30 right now. So she's still young, but you could use her to be for your bench person because she could play. She could, like I said, she's like Salto. She could stretch the floor. She has a good mid range. She could shoot threes, but I don't think she's a high volume 3-point shooter. But for what our videos I watched of her last night, she's definitely a good mid-range person. She can hit mid-range good, something that Alyssa Smith failed to do. And she has a good face-up. She has a great first step. She's a great rebounder. She's a great inside-outside person, and she sets hell of a screens. Her screen game is on point. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't leave her screen early. She knows when to leave her screen. And that's something that Caitlin Clark will benefit off her. And to me personally, if you was to bring in Isabel Harris for the money, then you have Isabel that could come in. Say for instance that you got Salter Sully and you got Isabel Harris. Then you could bring in Isabel Harris and Sully. You could use that lineup, a big lineup, because you could have two. You could have stretch bigs out, Isabel and Salto and Boston. Then you got Kelsey and her. It's going to be hard to match. Then you got defensive length that's going to stifle a lot. There's a lot of things that you could do with this lineup, and I mean, it's crazy to think about it. Then you got Isabel coming off the bench because she could sub for Salto. Sometimes she could come in for Boston. You know what I'm saying? You can miss a match, and if you still kept Timmy, you still have Timmy for defensive purposes. You know what I'm saying? And then you won't have to worry about it. But what Isabel brings is more rebounding and more scoring to your bench production, where now you don't have to play Aaliyah Boston 40 minutes. You don't have to play Clark 40 minutes. You don't have to play you don't have to hope that Melissa Smith, Agent Smith, that I call her, is going to be what she's going to give you night in and night out. You got somebody that could give you good minutes, about 15 minutes, score, play defense, run the floor well. You need runners on the floor. You got to be able to run with Caitlin Clark because that's the system now. The system is running. If you think about it, the Dallas Wings was the most transition pace team in the WNBA. Indiana Fever was second. You don't think people want to play with Caitlin Clark because they want to run? Some of these teams or players in the league are predicated to run, but they get forced to put in a half-court set because some of the coaches don't know how to coach them. But if you could run and work the half-court set like a triangle offense, it'll work good because as the Bulls did it in the years with the triangle offense, it's half-court, but it's movement, and also they could get out and run, play defensively and get out and run. And that's something that Clark wants because you got to think about it. Clark could score 20 points a game next year if she get the right pieces around her. Now, my next person is dang, I had her in my head and I laid it out. Shoot. Dang, I had it. Oh my God, I had it. Hold on. I gotta look real quick because I gotta make sure I got this right. Dang it. Okay, yeah. My next free agent person, Ariel Powers. Ariel Powers is a dog. Straight up dog. And I think she will want to come to play with Indiana. You know why? Because Ariel Powers can score too. She's a decent three-point shooter, but she's defensively sound. If you, to me, say for instance, if you could lock down Salter Subley, get Isabel Harris, and Ariel Powers, guess what? Your bench is going to be locked down. Now, I don't know how much they could get in free agent, how many players they could get, but say if they could get four. Say if they could get four, and I'm going to name you these four. One, Salter Subley, Isabel Harris, Ariel Powers, and Kia Nurse. And one of the reasons why I say Kia Nurse, because we will need a point guard. Because I think Christy Wallace could get plucked. I think Grace Berger get plucked. I think Victoria Saxton get plucked. So these three won't be on the team. So you will need to fill that void. You're going to have enough money to do anything that you want. And you got to think about it. The revenue that the Indiana Fever have brought in is going to benefit them more on their cap money. So they'll probably have more money than is projected going into the season. So the reason why I say Ariel Powers, because now Ariel Powers, excuse me, Ariel Powers is the same age as Isabel Harris, 30. Now Ariel Powers been hurt mostly this year with the Atlanta Dream, but she used to play with the Minnesota Lynx. She was under Cheryl Reeves, so she knows that organization well, and she plays great defense. She's the game that I saw when they beat the Aces early this season. She got up in Jackie Young face. She got up in Kelsey Plum face. She's a dog. You need that dog person on your team. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that'll light that fire, get the crowd rolling. You imagine her. She's like a Dennis Rodman type. She can rebound. She, like I said, she's gritty. Just like how the Connecticut Suns got Marina Mabry, a gritty person, fiery person. That's the kind of person that the Indiana Fever needs on their team. Somebody that's, when somebody gets in Caitlin Clark face, you got somebody that got your back. We had Timmy there, but you need more dogs on this team to like, hey, we here to stay. Ain't gonna be all of that bullying, all of that stuff around. And Ariel Powers, and she did comment on Caitlin Clark's post yesterday too. So watch out for that. So Ariel Powers would be great. She would be great for this Fever. She could be another veteran in the locker room, along with Isabel Harris, and they could bring leadership and they could work together as a team. And you could see a great bond. And I'll be honest with you, I think Isabel Harris wants to come play in Indiana. She doesn't like it in Chicago, and I think she comes to Indiana, she's going to be able to benefit a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like I said, I think Ariel Powers will fit so perfectly because defensively, can you imagine her and Lexi Hall defensively locking down people on the front court and making steals and run out in transition? I'm telling you, the Indiana Fever is in a great spot right now to lock down some great players. Now, will we get these players? I don't know. But these are my picks that I feel that could benefit the Indiana Fever more and push them to the next step. Because Linn Dunn did say the 4 teams that's in the playoff right now are well put together. The Minnesotas, the Connecticut Sun, the Vegas Aces, and the Liberty. And if you get these type of players on your team with Caitlin Clark, Boston, and Mitchell, the Indiana Fever will be one of the top 5 teams in the league next year. Hands down. Better than Seattle. Now, I did have Gabby Williams on my list, but I'm not too sure for her. I don't know her style will fit. Maybe it will, maybe it not. But do she want to come to Indiana? I don't know. She loves it in Seattle. She talks about more money. So I don't know, if the front office will want to reach out to her, they probably reach out to her just to pick her brain. But to me, she's a good player, but she's up there too. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't know. And I just think that, she kind of got a little bit, she has to me, a little bit jealousy. And for what I've seen from her in Seattle the last second half of the season, I ain't just thrilled about her. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Seattle will let her go. I think they'll core her to keep her there. So now my last person is Kia Nurse. I like Kia Nurse. Kia Nurse is lights out 3-point shooter. Just like Marina Mabrey is for Connecticut Sun, that's Kia Nurse. You'll need a Kia Nurse like that, because guess what? That's another person that could come in, give Caitlin or Mitchell a break and still run the second unit. Because you have to have a great second unit when your starters need breaks. And they have to come in and give your players that breather for about 2 or 3 minutes, able to keep leads. Because imagine, the only thing is about this is the coaching. Because Chrissy Sides don't know how to use her personnel. So you could shop groceries, good groceries all day long. But if your chef don't know how to cook it, it's not going to be good. And this is where it gets tricky, because people want to come to play with Caitlin, but they might not be sold on the coach. So how are Linn Dunn and Kelly K is going to sell them and say, hey, well, now if you fire your coach, team's going to be kind of reluctant too. They go like, well, you ain't have a coach. I don't know if I want to come there or not. But if you, most likely, if Chrissy Side's there, they say, well, I'm coming. You got a coach, but I want to come and just play with, I want to be with Caitlin. Then you got to look at Kelly K, because since she's making the decisions and from the marketing and the business, she's going to tell Chrissy Sides what she's looking for and what she needs, how this team needs to be coached. Because Linn Dunn doesn't say anything to her. But I bet you Kelly is going to be down there and say, look, I got you all these pieces. You need to make it way further in the playoffs. Hell, you need to see if you can make it to the championship. Because if you don't, guess what? We're going to bring somebody in that's going to make sure these players is good. Because with a new CBA coming, you don't know what's that going to look like. But like I said before, because you got 2 more expansion teams coming the year after, and these players going to get recycled again. So if you're going to lock these teams down, say that you make them restricted free agents, they can't get signed by nobody. Hell, you lock them in. Because Caitlin and Boston contract is now up until 26 and 27. So this is my thing. These are all my projected players that I would love to see the Indiana Fever go after, because they fit what the system is, what they look for. Defense, 3-point shooting, and transition, pace. You know what I'm saying? They're able to run the floor. All of these players run the floor. Like I said, Kia Nurse is special because she's a very good lethal 3-point shooter, and she don't need much room. And if you got somebody like Caitlin running the floor and passing it to her, and she's hitting wide open shots, that's going to make Caitlin's job easier, because then you have to pick her up. And you got Mitchell on the floor at the same time with Clark playing small ball against because all it is game-to-game adjustments. Some teams will go small. You go small. And guess what? You running the floor a little bit better. You have one big on the floor or forward, and you running the floor and you kicking out and you hitting 3-point shots out there and you blowing teams out. Teams ain't gonna know how to deal with you. And I just think, like I said, I think the Indiana Fever is in a great spot, and they really need to hone in and get these pieces. Now, some other notable names is Odyssey Sims, Natasha Howard, and probably some others. But like I said, them 4 that I mentioned, now I would love to have all 4 of them, to be honest with you. If we get 3 out of that 4, I'm happy. If we get 3 out of that 4, I'm happy. For real. But the number 1 person to me is Santa Sobey, Isabel Harrison, and Ariel Powers. Me personally, Ariel Powers, like I said, she's a dog. Defensively, you need that dog. And that will hype the crowd up. Just like how the Chicago Bulls went out and got Dennis Rodman, and Dennis Rodman had that crowd hype, Ariel Powers is like that. She gets up in you. Then you got Isabel Harrison that come off the bench playing great defense. Salter Selby. Like I said, sky's the limit for the Indiana Fever. It just depends on how they're going to approach this season, but I will keep a lookout. But these are my 4 main free agent targets that I hope the Indiana Fever do look forward to get. Like I said, if we get 3 out of the 4, I'm happy. You know, if we could get Satu right off the jump, I'm good with it. If not, then we got 3 other picks for a little bit more cheaper. So we'll see. But share your thoughts, comments below. Let me think. If you have any free agent thoughts of who you think we should get, and please, let's stop saying Dejanay Carrington. She's never coming to the Fever. She's not. You know what I'm saying? Plus, she's a restricted free agent. She's not going nowhere. And we already dealt with the drama with Nalissa Smith, so we don't need her drama either. Now, Marina Mayberry is available. I would have took her. But nevertheless, she has 1 more year on her contract. You never know. But again, let me know what you think. LiveWire Sports Media can hit that subscribe button, keep them bells ringing anytime I drop a cold, hardcore video. And like I said at the end of my video, you know what it is.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.